Napoleon is the newest feature from Ridley Scott, the mastermind behind Alien and Gladiator, is back to give us yet another epic on the big screen. Now, this is a movie that I was originally not going to do a review on, but this is a film that I was not a big fan of for a couple of reasons. One, I felt like the pacing and the story of this film is all over the place. This film jumps to about 5 or 6 different time periods, and there's no cohesion in the narrative. Like, this is supposed to be kind of a look inside Napoleon's life. Like, this is supposed to be a film like, despite all of the blood and death, like, who is Napoleon? What type of lifestyle, did this guy live? Like, who was he as a character? Who was he behind closed doors? Like, this was a film that was supposed to kind of give you insight as to how Napoleon's brain worked. And I think that was the aspect I was most looking forward to when watching this movie. And that's not really what this movie is about. I mean, sure, like, you get scenes that you get glimpses of what Napoleon's life could have been, but this isn't really a character piece. Like, it's the first act is literally a montage. Like, you never really get kind of sucked in because the movie is jumping around so often that it doesn't stay and allow for the audience to just sit with it and get sucked in and get immersed into that sequence or that story, because it spends about maybe 10 minutes with one point in time, and then it jumps to about 5-10 years later, and then we see him at a different stage in his life, and then there's like a short sequence with that, and then we jump to another point in time, and that's literally the entire movie. It is just jumping back and forth to all these different time periods, and you're never really getting sucked in to Napoleon's character. And I'm gonna be honest, I found his story incredibly boring here. Like, the one saving grace I can give to this movie is the action sequences. Like, Ridley Scott, he is a mastermind at putting spectacle on screen. And there's one action scene in particular which I'm going to say is probably my favorite action sequence of 2023. And it takes place on the ice. And yeah, just the spectacle, the size of it, the way it was shot, the way it was directed, it was perfect. Like, that's an action scene done right. So, despite all the action sequences in this film being really good, there's only about a handful of them in this movie. And that's about maybe 10 minutes out of a 3-hour long movie. So take that as what you will there. But Joaquin Phoenix, I thought he was really good as Napoleon. I thought he did a lot to service this character, and I thought he did his best with the script that he was written. And this is definitely a film that Ridley Scott would make. But is this a film that was really necessary? I don't think so, personally. Because, there's a dozen other films out there that are character pieces about Napoleon's life that are way better than this. And this just so happens just to be, another story, in a pile of other stories that have already been made and are already better than this. And, it might come across as me being like, oh, I hate Napoleon and all of that, blah, blah, blah. No, I like good stories and I like good characters, and I just don't think this is a character you should mess up, because it's not like this is a character you have to reinvent or reintroduce. This is a character that has a staple in history. His character is already developed at what he did. His story is already there. It's not like you have to make up your own story here. So I feel like this is a story that it could have been way better than how it was displayed to us. And I think if the film wasn't jumping around so often, and I think if it was just about one particular point in time, I think that would have worked a lot better for me. Because did this film need to be 3 hours long? No. This film could have been about half an hour to an hour shorter. And just that's my honest thoughts on this movie. Like, I had kind of hopes for this movie, especially with the success of Oppenheimer and how well that did as a biopic on history. I was hoping, Napoleon, would be another, hit in the park. But, this film is, this is just, a meh film. Like, Ridley Scott's, great director. His direction certainly shines in here, but this is by far not his best film by any means. So, anyways. So yeah, that's my review on Napoleon. Let me know what you guys thought of the movie down in the comment section down below. So anyways guys, I'll talk to you later.